So budget, staffing, managing that staff, all materials, that's including books, and DVDs, and CDs, and magazines, and the chairs and the tables, and when we're going to be open, and what's going to be happening, and the buck stuff. Lastly, information specialists I have up here, teaching students and staff the skills of locating, selecting, and evaluating information. Now, this is sort of the biggest deal, because in today's global, internet-connected, fast-paced, instant gratification-seeking, YouTubing society, information is the fastest-growing commodity on the planet. And someone is going to have to be the navigator through this giant mess of stuff. And that person in your building is technically the librarian. And they should be, educated on the issues. Well, I won't go into too much more about that, I guess. But our purpose, again, is to educate students in terms of seeking information, in terms of information literacy, as well as teachers. You guys are lucky because you're being trained right now. But when you go into buildings, I just was at a meeting where they were like, oh, I wish I knew more about laws. And I was like, well, it takes 35 seconds, and if I can do it, anybody can do it. So, think about, other teachers. Not something to say about that, guys. So, out with the old stereotypes and in with the new. Let's banish this idea of the old librarian, because as I had mentioned, well, they're retiring. The realities are that 50% of school librarians are over the age of 55. And as of 2006, 2/3 of librarians, most of which work in school or academic libraries, were aged 45 or older. So, times they are changing. So, another point, excuse me, I drink water a lot. Another point of this is to talk about collaboration. It's another big buzzword, not just in teaching, it's in library school too. So why collaborate? Well, better student performance. This, I have up here as a longitudinal study that is being performed at Syracuse University. Their preliminary findings found that in schools with certified school librarians, that's people who have degrees, who are, who have the MLS, actually, in elementary schools, especially in their 4th grade ELAs, they actually scored better than in schools where they have non-certified library media specialists or just a staff member. And it's about 10 points better in their preliminary findings. That was just in a few years. But smarter kids is not the only reason why. What I've got up here are the general educational goals for school librarians, helping students flourish in a learning community not limited by time, place, age, occupation, or disciplinary borders. Joining teachers and others to identify links in student information needs, curricular content, learning outcomes in a variety of print and non-print resources, and to design authentic learning tasks and assessments. What you may see here is this is very similar to your own goals as teachers, and that's because we're all on the same team. We're all out for the better of education, that's our goal. And school librarians are out to enable students to independently absorb information, evaluate information quality, and stimulate interest in reading, viewing, and using information and ideas, basically to foster competence and skills for lifelong learning. There's no difference. We're all trying to do the same thing. We're not just trying to shush you. So, the most important point of that is learning skills cannot be absorbed without content. This is the part where the teachers come in. Librarians can sit up there with their red in the face trying to say, use some information-seeking skills, but if they have nothing to look for, it's completely irrelevant and useless. So teachers and librarians have to work together in order to get those skills incorporated into their daily lives. So, some ideas for collaboration. There are many ways that a teacher and a librarian can collaborate. There's the obvious ones of, different sort of lesson planning things. First off being research projects. I think it goes without saying. Now I think as young as, 4th grade, 3rd grade, they're doing research projects. Schools are investing money in databases, obviously. They're investing here. But that doesn't mean they're any less complicated or confusing at like the young age than they are here at UB. And theoretically, there's no reason to send your students out just like, here, look in the databases. The first person you should be trying to work with is the librarian. You don't have to teach them that lesson. That's not part of your curriculum. You're trying to teach them to create a research presentation or project. It's the librarian's job to teach them how to do that. So it's simply a matter of shooting off an email, what have you. Hey, we want to come down into the databases. Will you show us how? And they will probably say, yes, I will show you how. So, research projects, obviously. Oh, another thing about that too, is I have personally witnessed students, you put them in a database, and they are like lost. Because, a good keyword can really make for a good search. Bad keywords can send you into like this labyrinth of totally, irrelevancy. But even with a good keyword, it can still be streamlined, and even searches in Google, teaching something as simple as like a Boolean search in Google, how to limit things by like site, limiters and things of that nature. Again, not your job to teach them. Not to be like, start your job, but like you guys have a lot going on. You have a lot on your plate already and not a lot of time. And it's nice to have someone available in your building who can take care of those lessons for you. And to even help you out with things. Obvious things like citation and works cited, backbone of librarianship. This is becoming even more of an issue right now with copyright and information, or I should say, intellectual freedom, thank you. Too many I words. There is so much information, and it's so easy to cheat that all they have to do is properly cite their information. Again, it's really great if you have time to teach them all this, but maybe you don't. And so it's another lesson that librarians are more than willing and able to teach. Even creative projects. I know that might seem kind of strange, but things like blogs, wikis, and podcasts, these Web 2.0 tools are like the gold, frankincense, and myrrh of education. They're like, we need to get up making wikis and making blogs, and I have my feelings on that. But the point is, as I said before, it is the obligation of the librarian, the professional obligation, to be informed on those things. You don't have to teach a lesson on how to make a wiki. You just want them to make the wiki. So, ask the librarian to teach it for you. Not that you can't, obviously. I don't want to insinuate to anyone that you can't do that, but collaboration works better. Student reading is obvious. Our job to, try to instill a love of reading. And there are still books in the library, and they do need to know how to read them. And everyone should be encouraging that, including, obviously including librarians. But, if we step out of the box for a moment, there are some other ways, too, of collaborating that you might not even think about. Simply need an idea. Librarians don't have to actually do the project with you or for you. Sometimes it's nice to just get another perspective on whatever it is you're trying to do with your lesson. There might be things available in the library that you don't even know about that can correlate perfectly with what you're trying to do. There might be a whole set of encyclopedias about, evil men of history, which exist, and that you might not even know. That could be interesting and a great way to engage students in a different way. Educational resources. There might be something that the librarian doesn't know about, that you know about, that you read about, or that you heard about in a conference that you'd like to have in the library. It's way easier if you know the librarian to say, hey, can you order that for us? And chances are to say, sure, because I have some amount of budget, hopefully. So also professional resources. Every librarian should have, at every school library, should have a small, if anything, collection of professional resources for teachers. So you don't have to go out and buy them, because they might just be available right in your school library. Feeling stressed. I'm sure you never will. I'm sure